there's a difference between people who want to engage in criminal behavior with children and people who just put on, like a drag show. Not everybody is a criminal, for the love. I hate that you have to sit here and boil every statement down because we live in such a stupid society that is so self-obsessed. Everybody is only interested in getting jabs in. They're not interested in discourse. They're not listening. They're only hearing. There's a difference. And these people who are trying to conflate all of this are some of the worst on earth. I find it disgusting. They've had Sunny Hostin. She was blaming Republican politics. Absolutely no evidence at all. She's like, if you don't want to go to a gay club, why do? And then you had Joe Biden who was comparing it to Pulse Nightclub. Pulse Nightclub was a terror attack. And the guy who carried out the Pulse Nightclub, that murderer, had already on Facebook pledged allegiance publicly to ISIS. And he did it again on one of the 911 calls. He was a terrorist. And he actually was telling patrons and he was telling the operator on the phone that he was doing it in revenge for United States bombing in Afghanistan. You can't compare them. Nobody even knows the motives of this guy. Nobody's stopping to ask, why was this guy released? I saw someone over at the Bulwark, whatever the hell it is, I don't know. One of the fake Republican sites, don't even correct me, I don't care, who was trying to say that, well, the red flag law wouldn't have worked. Or that it doesn't matter, he was able to get around a red flag law, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I love that these people have such a shallow understanding of what the law is. First off, it doesn't matter if he was charged with a handful of felonies. That's completely irrelevant as to whether or not El Paso County had declared itself a Second Amendment sanctuary. They were trying to say, oh, well, this county declared itself a Second Amendment sanctuary. Therefore, the red flag law, you can't use that. Actually, yes, you can, because like me, who's covered this for 2+ years in depth, reading every single resolution that has been passed in every single county that's declared itself a Second Amendment sanctuary. I hate to say it because I wish it was more than this, but they're really actually just nothing more than ceremonial moves. And in fact, the guy who was, and I'm not giving them the 15 minutes that they want, the guy who was trying to make this argument apparently didn't read the AP article that he used to justify the claim, because the sheriff in said county had said that, aside from, certain circumstances, while they would prefer the family actually petition, meaning they would prefer that the family. Usually when you have a red flag, some instances, depending on where you are, only law enforcement can do it. Some it's every Tom, Dick, and Harry, your family and law enforcement. Some it's family and law enforcement. There's no uniformity to any of this anywhere. And so what they were saying is that they would rather the family and not just law enforcement actually make the petition. And they didn't really like the ex parte, meaning they don't tell the person involved, process. And they said they would only do that under the most serious of circumstances, have it to where it's just the police petitioning for the red flag, because they don't like it. They recognized it as a diminishment of due process, which it is. So the idea that the red flag is inapplicable because of a ceremonial resolution is a poor argument that has no basis in law or fact. And aside from that, it also doesn't answer the fact that it's still irrelevant because he was charged with a whole bunch of felonies. He was charged with 5 felonies, 2 of which were first degree, or 2 were menacing. I didn't even know what felony menacing is. I was reading all about the statute of that in that state last night. And then, of course, he had first degree, I think it was 3 first degree kidnapping charges. So the case was sealed. Apparently, the charges were never filed, and we have no idea what happened because they sealed the case, or they sealed the record. We have no idea what happened. Now, it doesn't matter if it was a Second Amendment sanctuary. It doesn't matter whether or not there was the presence of a red flag. None of that has anything to do with the fact that he was charged with felonies. A, why didn't they stick? B, when you're charged, you're a prohibited possessor, at which time until you are convicted or those charges are dismissed. What happened with all of this? Because it was barely a year ago. He could have been, and plus, aside from that, there are still tons of other provisions in the state of Colorado, including mental processes through which he could have been adjudicated mentally unfit or dangerous. Why was none of that followed? Why did the family not petition? You're talking about banning an inanimate object responsible for the least amount of loss of life. but you're ignoring everything that led up to this point. I can't take people seriously when they say that they want to save lives when they ignore everything that leads up to the taking of them.